a real woman. And for him to see his face, and they call its title is because, you know, he realizes that he's been fantasizing about something that doesn't even exist, and the impact and the enormous amount of judgment that he himself felt in walking down the street, like, oh my God, that
girl
woman
doesn't look like
she's got cellulite, or you know, and I just that I think it's pretty amazing. But when I do, and I think I did this with you guys too, gender, we do this thing like called a fishbowl, where the guys are able to have a conversation and the girls can listen.
One of my favorite parts, by the way. Really cool idea.
And then the girls are able to do the same thing, but the people that are listening in are not allowed to speak, and they have to. And it's so incredible because the boys almost always have a longer conversation than the girls.
Wow.
And when I talk and ask specific questions, what are the 5 most important things about a woman to you? And what are the 5 most important things you think you're supposed to say are the most important? And the disparity is really incredible. Like, you know, it's like an amazing smile. I want to be able to talk to her. I want to not feel stupid.
So sweet.
You know, it just, that idea. And then how many of them, when I say, you know,
what do you
if
think?
you could have this gorgeous, or this idea of how they have this conversation that a girl can be totally hot, and as soon as she, you know, if her personality or her character is either, you know, mean-spirited or whatever, catty, that physically they begin to change in front of their eyes, you know, and that's just real life. And and it's very true in the opposite, where you can look at, you know, the boys will talk about looking at a girl and she's like, she's cool and she's nice, and then when you start to, you know, things start to develop, and all of a sudden it's like she biologically changes in front of you. She's like the hottest thing you've ever seen. And
exactly.
But that intimidation that so many boys feel, that, okay, now does she fit into, in order for my guy friends to meet her, does she fit into whatever it's supposed to be beautiful? So I think boys feel, you know, almost equally trapped in some way.
That's true. That's and then, okay, so we're gonna wrap up soon. We're kind of coming to the end now. What how can families play a positive role in their teens' decision making? How could a mom or dad kind of impart some of this information to their kid and help them make these choices?
I think, you know, in a 1 minute response in such a complicated.
Well, it doesn't have to be 1 minute.
But this idea of not inflicting help is so important, and this idea too that if you can't talk to your kid comfortably, then you can't talk to your kid about sex or drugs. That's just kind of a no-brainer. And the idea of not having the talk, but just having conversation, and not forced conversation. And developmentally, there's just enormous differences too, you know, from a sophomore boy to, you know, a senior boy. Or what I think is important is that young people, they want self-worth, they want connection, and they want joy. And if I think the more that parents can just present themselves as a safe place to have a conversation, to be in the same place in the house at a certain time where you don't have to have a talk, but you know that your dad's or your mom's going to be sitting at the kitchen table pretty much every day around like between whatever, 4:30 and 5. Just know that somebody is there. And again, to not, to listen. For every 3 minutes your kid talk for 1.
Yeah.
Just little things like that are just so, they're just so key. And this idea that if your teenager expresses ambivalence or concern or hesitation about a decision they're making, it doesn't mean that they're making bad choices. It means that they're experiencing ambivalence and hesitation and around a decision, which is what we as adults also experience. So if we begin to judge that, how the process that our kids are going through and how they make choices, they're just going to stop talking, you know, and that's, you know, that's just such a bummer because they're just an enormous, you know, resource.
No, a judgment-free zone is so nice to have as
Huge.
a teen. It's just, especially with your parents and being able to really feel safe.
Yeah.
I can say that personally, my mom's a therapist, so I really feel like, you know, it's just the nicest part of having her as a mom is that she'll listen and she'll be there for me and I feel safe there.
What do you think? What else did I leave out? Because I think that safety is important, but there are other things.
I mean, for me, my brother is kind of experimenting right now, and he's having a hard time, but it's kind of a weird position because my mom is like that. She's really caring and she's really lenient and she lets us make our own decisions and it's safe. She's just there for us kind of quietly.
Yeah.
But then what's happened with that is that he is making his own decisions. He's kind of stronger than her in the decisions that the family makes for what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you go from there, though? That's almost more of a question.
One thing that now that I, as a parent, am trying desperately to do, because of course my children are going to be the kids that never talk to me about anything, right? My students are always like, "Oh my God, your kids are so lucky," and my kids are like 5 and 7, and they're like, "Penis, penis, this, vagina, vagina, whatever." Make good choices. What I tell parents now, what I've tried to do, like these 2 of my kids' godparents are former students of mine, and is you put people in place that your child feels comfortable with. It doesn't have to be you. You know, like I don't care if my daughter, you know, please, I hope this never happens, but if my daughter has an unwanted pregnancy, she doesn't need to talk to me. I just want to know that she knows someone she can talk to. And and hopefully it's someone I trust and respect. So the more people I can put out there for her and keep connected to as a family, I just feel like I have that arsenal. So those, you know, 2 former students of mine, it's their job to keep my kids alive through adolescence.
Very big. And so what's just closing piece of advice you would give a teen? Sum up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would say don't ever underestimate the journey towards joy. And really, there really isn't. And it's very hard when you're a teenager because very, very many people in power are going to tell you that a lot of other things are more important. And there's things you just have to buck up and do, and blah, blah. That's all true, but to seek joy and figure out what that looks like to you and just go for it. And just you know, whatever you can do to lessen regret, it's just, you know, this is a one-shot deal.
Doing. Yeah.
It's a one-shot deal. And to try so hard to at least make some choices with some information that you trust. Yeah. Wherever you can get it.
Get information and make those decisions.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you so much
for joining. You're like the best interviewer I've ever had.
No, that's so sweet.
You're so good at this, Abby.
Thank you. Gosh, I mean, I'm trying.
You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you. Anyway, well, good. Thanks. So thank you so much for joining us, Karis. It's been wonderful having you on the show. Thanks to everyone for listening. I hope you got a lot out of the conversation. Like I said, pretty liberal. We talked about some intense topics, but it really needs to get out there, and hopefully some of the information was really helpful to you guys.
I hope so, too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And this is Abby's Road, and I'll see you next week. Okay, guys, I'm going to do my open now. I have to do an open for the show, and then we edit it in at the beginning. I had a lot more questions for you.
It's hard. I can't believe that went like...
I know. I feel so, like, an hour is such a long period of time, but it's never enough.
No, and then I always think, God, I should have...
I know.
Or I wish I'd...
I wanted to ask you what it's like having kids.
Oh,
because I think that would have been interesting.
Yeah, but that's more interesting to you because you are
true.
you. Most teenagers they don't give a shit about.
Yeah. Well, that's true. And then there's more specifics about, like, body image and stuff, but...
Yeah, that's so big, though. That's smart to not even... If you can't go there, then to go there a little bit. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, I'm going to...
We could do a condom dildo demonstration.
I know. Actually, we should do that. But the only problem... That'd be so funny. The only problem is that it's an audio podcast. So this is all...
So this is what we're doing now. Let me describe to you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, it's kind of halfway there. But yeah, no, this part, a lot of people see it live video. I think it's like 2,000 maybe, more than that. I don't know.
Wow.
More or less. But a lot more people than that downloaded audio, so it's technically audio.
And did they get my website so they can email?
Oh,
if they have...
shoot! Should I edit that in?
You said it at the very... No, maybe you didn't.
Oh, I said it at the beginning.
I think you did.
Right now.